Texas Congressman Michael Burgess joins us now and explains why he and all of his colleagues voted no. One Democrat also switched sides, voted no as well. This is a Democrat dream. H.R. 1 passed last night in the House. It's moving on to the Senate. Automatic voting registration restores voting rights to formerly incarcerated people, expands early voting. Explain your thoughts on this bill and what it would mean for the nation if it does, in fact, pass in the Senate.
Voting has historically been regulated by the states and been handled by the states. This is a major shift, and as far as campaign finance, where now taxpayers are going to fund congressional campaigns. Who wants to spend taxpayer dollars on all the negative ads that typically crowd our TV screens during election time?
Yeah. So like I said, no Republican support, but White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said that President Biden would support abolishing the filibuster to push this through. Do you think this is actually going to become law?
Well, that's the worry. Abolish the filibuster, override the Senate parliamentarian. I mean, there are ways that can happen, and that's why let's get back to the fundamentals. Elections have consequences, and right now this is on a knife's edge. It could happen.
Wow.
Michael Burgess' eyes are on Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema there.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go to this next topic. You and your fellow Republicans want briefing from the DHS chief after he claims there is no border crisis. Let's look at the numbers, Congressman. Take a look. In January alone, that number's approaching 80,000 southwest border apprehensions. This is the number that shocks me, though. DHS projecting 117,000 unaccompanied minors will cross this year. That is a huge jump from fiscal year 2020. In your estimation, is this a crisis or is this a challenge?
By former Secretary Jay Johnson's own definition, this is a crisis. In fact, he identified over 1,000 crossings a day would be a crisis, and now we're well beyond that point. Look, I've been down there at times when the numbers have spiked, and it's tough. It's tough on the men and women that we ask to be our first line, Customs and Border Protection, even our health officials at HHS who are tasked with taking care of the unaccompanied minors who come across the border. This becomes a management problem of epic proportions. And, it didn't start in the last administration. In fact, my first exposure to the problem was in 2014 when the unaccompanied minor crisis really did reach crisis proportions, and our systems were overwhelmed. Right. And that's led to a lot of the difficulties that you even see today. I actually tried to get in the bill that passed last week, the big massive stimulus coronavirus bill, let's do testing down on the border. Someone comes in, we at least ought to test it. Our citizens on this side should at least know if they need to worry that this individual coming in has brought the coronavirus with them.
Seems logical.
That was turned down. That was turned down. Wouldn't hear of it. Didn't let it on the Rules Committee. But yes, we are going to have to address that. It is absolutely critical.
Yeah, that's so true. And we're hearing from President Biden about your state of Texas. The governor just reopened. Everything's allowed back at 100% capacity. So let's take a listen to what President Biden had to say about your governor.
I think it's a big mistake. Look, I hope everybody's realized by now these masks make a difference. And the last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it. It still matters.
Congressman, you were just talking about the illegal immigrants that President Biden is allowing into the country with COVID-19, and yet he is accusing Governor Abbott of Neanderthal thinking.
I'm sure Governor Abbott's been called worse. Look, the amusing aspect of that aside, Governor Abbott has been tasked, in all governors, this has been a difficult situation for them. I'm not a big believer in mandates. I wear a mask because I think it's a good idea. I think it protects me. I think it protects those around me. But what are you going to do if someone doesn't wear a mask? Are you going to arrest them, put them in jail where their risk for coronavirus is much, much higher? The mask mandate really it should be an educational activity where if people are at risk or if people are in congregate settings where they can't socially distance, of course a mask is a good idea. And nothing the governor said would prohibit someone from wearing a mask. I have my N95 mask. I will wear it to the grocery store. I will wear it in places where I cannot socially distance. I will wear it on the aircraft because the airlines tell me I should.
Right.
But I think the governor's exactly correct. Let's return this decision back to people. And here's the other thing. And thank God for the vaccines. Thank God President Trump would not accept the timeline that he was originally given of 18 months if everything goes perfectly. No, he did it in 10 months. And this is now not one, not two, but 3 highly effective vaccines. Who a year ago, when we first heard of this scourge, would have thought we would actually have those tools in hand today. But thank God we do.
Yeah.
Interesting point of view from Dr. Michael Burgess,
That's
who's
right.
also a congressman.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.